Hello, friends. I am wondering today if any of you are having trouble keeping up with time in the midst of this practice of physical distancing. Many feel like their lives are out of rhythm or out of balance somehow. I've heard people say that they are having trouble keeping up with what day it is. One person told me that they missed worship on Sunday because they didn't realize it was Sunday. They were thankful to be able to watch and participate later, but were disturbed. They were disturbed that they had missed it on Sunday. I can sympathize with that. A question that I regularly ask myself these days is, what day is it? Now, if that's a reality for you in any way, then I can say that the Scriptures provide help. The Scriptures are full of calls to get our lives in rhythm around holy days, and especially around a weekly rhythm of practicing Sabbath rest and worship on the one hand, and then living out our faith the rest of the week. This weekly balance, this weekly rhythm is good for us. It is healthy for us. It is decreed by God from the very beginning of time. I want to read a verse of Scripture now where the first day is mentioned. Paying attention to the first day is very important. Or paying attention to the first hour, or any time we want to start anew by putting God first. When we start with what is meant to be first, then that sets everything else into motion, leading to faithfulness and fruitfulness. The first day is the day of resurrection, the day when all things become new, the day when we worship and prepare ourselves spiritually for the rest of the week. So here's one verse that mentions the first day. In John 20, verse 19, we read this: "When it was evening that day, the first day of the week, and the doors of the house where the disciples were meeting were locked, Jesus came and stood among them and said, 'Peace be with you.'" In this lesson, the disciples were behind locked doors. They were hiding in fear, unsure of what to do next. That was their posture. That was their disposition on that first day. I suspect that many of us can relate to that. And then the risen Christ appeared to them behind the locked doors and said to them, "Peace be with you." As the disciples huddled in fear, this is the first thing the risen Christ wanted them to hear. Peace be with you. Peace. Sometimes when we think of peace, we think of peace and quiet. We might think of being alone, away from the noise and stress of the world. We might think of serenity or tranquility. That is nice, although some may feel like they're getting too much of that kind of peace these days. And then others may be longing for that kind of tranquility, especially if kids are at home and adults have become teachers. We all need serenity and tranquility. But in the Scriptures, the peace that Christ wants for us includes a lot more than just peace and quiet. Here the word is shalom. It is relational peace. It suggests harmony among us and between us. It suggests a wholeness in relationship. Shalom comes when we practice patience and forgiveness and kindness with one another. Shalom comes when we know that together we are a part of something so much bigger than ourselves and our experiences. As the disciples huddled in fear, this is the first thing the risen Christ wanted them to know. The risen Christ wanted them to know that they could live in peace with God. Taking time for us to know this peace with God is what leads us to peace among ourselves and between us and within us. So friends, in times such as these, we are invited to intentionally reconnect with this peace on the first day, or during the first hour of the day, or any time we want to start anew by turning to what needs to come first. Today, I invite you to start. Start your week, start your days, being more intentional and find ways to know the peace of Christ here. Connecting to this peace first will then lead to blessings, will lead you into faithfulness and fruitfulness in all the other times. Peace be with you. Amen. And friends, now, just for a couple of announcements, I do invite you to worship this Sunday on the first day of the week. This week we are going to be honoring our high school seniors with some of them helping us with worship. After worship, we're going to add something new this week. We have several classes, Sunday school classes, who are using Zoom for Sunday school. This week we're going to add another class. I will be leading a class on faith and time, continuing some of the thoughts that I've shared today. This will start at 10:15 on Sunday via Zoom. Detailed instructions will be provided for how you can access this class. I do hope that this midweek devotion will help you through and help lead you into ever increasing faithfulness and fruitfulness. Many blessings. Peace be with you.